Hi, my name is Tori Pritchett, and today is May 31st, and there was an average of 22 reported cases of COVID-19 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County area, which shows an 18% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, each subject is comfortable not wearing a mask. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Chief Edwards, and I'm going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Hello, how you doing? I'm Chief Walter Edwards here at Johnson C. Smith University Campus Police Department. I retired from Illinois after 28 years at the police department, 20 years on the SWAT team, and now I'm here in North Carolina as the Chief of Police at JCSU.
All right, Chief Edwards, and so where is home for you right now?
Currently right outside of Charlotte, Waxhaw, North Carolina is home for me and my family.
Okay, and where were you born?
South side of Chicago, at a hospital called Cook County Hospital many moons ago.
All right, and we started off by doing a hand map activity. So I'd like for you to just describe yourself. You know, you can use what you said in the hand map if you would like.
Well, I think I'm a very compassionate person. I'm very caring. I'm a grounded individual. I would say I'm a loving individual, and I'm a very hard worker. You know, I believe having those qualities will definitely set you apart from being just an average individual on this earth. So I would have to say those are some of the qualities.
All right, and if you could go ahead for me. I know there were 3 journeys that you reflected on. Would you be willing to select 1 or 2 and share your experience with those journeys?
Yeah, sure, why not? I would have to say fatherhood would be one of my most treasured journeys. You know, I think as a father, it just instilled values within myself to be the best person of me, you know, to provide a sound path for my children, to just be great, productive people on this earth. So I would have to say fatherhood is one of my most treasured. And then my second, I would have to say childhood. My childhood was, I guess, not the normal childhood, and I'm sure a lot of individuals on this earth can probably attest, because I'm sure they come from a similar place. But I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Mother passed when I was 13. Grandmother raised me and my sister. Lived in the projects, 63rd Street, which is Englewood of south side of Chicago. As a youth, I was shot. I was shot in the neck, and I was paralyzed for 2 weeks. And at that age, I had to learn how to walk, write, swallow. It was like I was an infant. So I would have to say my childhood was a major journey in my life, because without the childhood that I had and the things that I've endured, I would not be the individual that I am today. And I thank God that I'm here and I'm doing well, thanks to the good Lord. So my childhood was very, very important to me. I can never forget where I come from, because I wouldn't understand where I am right now if I didn't remember that.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that with me. With you, expressing how your childhood was very important to you, did that have any impact on the job that you selected?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, directly. For one, I was angry and I was upset that the individuals that did shoot me had gotten away. When that incident happened to me, I remember it like yesterday, going to a police department in Chicago, and a detective showed me a lineup, and I knew the individual that shot me was not in that lineup, but that detective tried to get me to say that it was someone that he probably has been trying to get for a long time and was using me to get him charged for whatever crime he was trying to get him for. So having that knowledge that an individual could have been wrongfully accused of a crime that they didn't commit gave me the drive and the determination to want to make things better for individuals like myself and my community. You know, just do what's right. So that kind of drove me and gave me the passion to want to become a police officer.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now, with you saying, you know, how driven you are, and, you know, with you being the chief of campus police at Johnson C. Smith University, how have you impacted, you know, campus life?
I would have to say that obviously I'm going to be biased. I think we've had some significant changes in regards to the safety and security for the students, the faculty, and the staff. You know, for one being, everyone must have student ID that enters on this campus. Even individuals that's visiting, we want to know what the business here on campus is. With breach points around the campus, we wanted to ensure that all the breach spots were corrected, they were fixed to not make it easily obtainable. So I think my greatest thing is to be able to control the access on the campus. And I think that's very important. And I think that may be the number one priority on most campuses, is to be able to have control of the access. I think it's important. And also having a relationship with our students. I think that's very important, that they feel safe and they feel like this police department is open to them 24/7. So whatever they need to talk about, if it's something, you know, not school related or just life, just letting them know that we are here. Just that relationship with the students, I think, is important. So I would have to say those are two elements that are important to me: the access control, the safety, and my students having a relationship.
All right. Thank you for that.
Excuse me.
I would like to ask you, what are some things that might have changed, you know, during the pandemic for you?
Well, things that changed when we were experiencing the pandemic, it was a little additional work that my staff had to do. We had the thermometer screenings that we had to control. We had the wristbands. Also, with individuals that had COVID, obviously wasn't allowed on campus. If I had any member of the police department, they had to be off for several days, obviously. But it kind of impacted us a little bit, you know. Well, we were still able to function accordingly and do our jobs effectively. So.
And how did you feel during that time with all these, you know, restrictions being in place, new safety measures that, you know, might have had to be taken during that time? How did that make you feel?
Well, it sucked, to be quite honestly. You know, I don't think anyone liked being stuck inside and having to wear face coverings, but you know, responsible people, I think, got it. You know, something of this magnitude and as contagious as it was, you had to take precautions. You know, yeah, we were inconvenienced to wear the mask covering, but it helped prevent the spread. So It sucked, and I hated it. I have allergies, so the mask was killing me. So I wasn't all that excited about wearing it, but I do things that are best for the overall outcome. So I wore it, and my staff had to wear it as well. So, yeah.
Okay. And were there any routines that changed for you?
Yeah, even here at the police department, we made sure that we sanitized everything. We sprayed, we wiped, Lysol, Clorox towels, whatever we touched, we wiped because we knew someone was coming after us. So inside of the squads, we wiped everything down. I made it mandatory that if you're taking over this vehicle, you wipe it down. You make sure you get it done to prevent any type of spread of COVID. So yeah, there was a lot of things that we had to do differently.
Okay. And was there any habits that you picked up from the pandemic?
Yeah. I ate more. I ate more because I wasn't really I wasn't out and active as I normally am. So I did eat and put on a few pounds, but that's part of life.
Yes.
Inactivity, that will do it. That's why I always tell people a little bit of something beat a whole lot of nothing. So you got to get out and do things. But yeah, I ate more. I can honestly say by being inside, not really getting out like under normal times. So yeah.
Gotcha. I know that made you more pumped to get into the gym.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was excited to get back because I got so tired of doing push-ups at home and sit-ups and jumping jacks. I got tired of doing that, and I was ready to get back to who I was, before this pandemic. So.
Okay. All right. And what are some good things that you've learned through your experience during the pandemic?
Well, whatever makes you weak makes you stronger. Since the pandemic, I've become more active on the outside with out just walking, jogging, outdoor activities. So I'm doing a lot more of that right now. I'm getting out. I'm going golfing.
Okay.
Love golf. Doing a little fishing and just spending time outdoors. So something that I love. I love being outdoors.
Now, are these new hobbies that you developed, or you've always, went fishing and?
I've always had those hobbies, but I may have amped it up a little bit in the gym because of the pandemic. Eating and not really being active.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I'm going ham right now. I got to be honest with you. So, oh yeah.
Okay, and just reflecting back on some of the changes, that process, transition over and, the restrictions and recommendations that were in place. Do you still follow that today, some of the things? Or have it lightened?
No, I'm still conscious of, when I'm handling things, I'll be conscious of sanitizing my hands. If I'm in a public place and touching a door handle, things that I may have not been that important to me is now important because now I know that, hey, there's a potential that I can touch any object, door handle, whatever it may be, and I can catch some type of virus. So I'm more conscious today than I was prior to the pandemic. So it has taught me some things, to be quite honest with you.
All right. And during the lockdown, the early days, do you remember some things that you were doing during that time?
Losing my mind because I wanted to get out.
Oh, yeah.
I just I hated being indoors, and I hated that we didn't have students on the campus, the interaction. So it just made long days, to be honest with you. We had some very long days because there wasn't a lot of movement on the campus. So, yeah.
So you all miss the students being back on campus.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that social interaction.
Right. That's very important.
Has the involvement increased, with the students? What are some things that you all do now for the students?
Well, we have an office full of students every day. And I love that we have that relationship with the students because I think that's important. We have cookouts. I also have interns that when they graduate, that's not it with campus police. We just got an individual that a previous intern that graduated from JCSU. Just got him on at a police department down in Greensboro. We facilitated that hiring with that police chief down there. And he's on, and his life is about to change tremendously. So we have work study students, and we just we have like a student appreciation cookouts here at the PD. So we have a lot of fun here at the police department.
Definitely to get that engagement going, and
it's important. Yeah.
Interaction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what do you think the future will look like?
Well, I think the future is bright. You have to think about what we've been through, obviously, as a people facing this pandemic. And I think we're going to be better off in the end because we went through, a lot of death. People died, and we're still here. It's like we persevered through a very tragic time. And I think we will be stronger for it because we've learned, even through those tough times, we learned how to deal with it and get past it. So, I mean, like I said, whatever makes you weak is going to make you strong. And I think we're going to be stronger people, post-pandemic. I really do think that, so.
Right, and I do have one last question. It's pertaining to, your relationships with your family, or even friends. Did that change during the pandemic?
No, not really. I've always been a family-oriented person. Family is important to me, and we still travel to see one another. So even though, the pandemic was in full-fledged, we did travel to see, like my sister, we traveled and we came to each other's homes and, we still sprayed but I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't wear our coverings and I did have one cousin that I have not seen yet. She's still the pandemic paranoid. I have not seen her. She will not travel, so. And
you had to go and see her?
No, she wound up getting COVID.
Oh.
And she was against getting the vaccination. I mean, to each his own, but she got the vaccination. Make a long story short, but we trip is scheduled for July for them to come and visit me. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. Now, is there any additional stories or experiences you would like to share?
Know that I'm truly blessed to have the career that I've had, over 30 years in law enforcement to make a difference in so many lives over the years. I'm just really thankful and I'm blessed to have the career that I've had and to continue, be a mentor to several young men and young women. It's a blessing that I'm still in this position, but I'm thankful.
Certainly. And is there any additional, I always ask my participants, is there any advice you would like to leave for somebody that may be going through, a pandemic in the future? Some encouraging words that you could leave them with?
Absolutely. It's just, remain optimistic. have faith that whatever your circumstances are, that you have enough faith to know that things are going to get greater later. You know, I always tell people, I said, hey, there's someone that's less off fortunate than you. Mm-hmm. So be thankful for what you have and for what you're going through. You know, we always want to thank God when good things happen to us, right? We want to say, oh, thank you, God, for the many blessings. Well, why not thank God when the bad things are happening to you? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You have to be thankful all across the board. You know, I used to be one of those people when I was a little younger and asked the good Lord, like, why? Why am I going through this? You know, why am I living like I'm living? My grandma's struggling. You know, no heat in the house. You know, we standing in line to get food. You know, me getting shot, losing all the scholarships that I got. One of the number one football players in the state of Illinois, could have went to any school I wanted to go to, you know. And I just stopped asking, why is all this happening to me? And as I got older, you know, I understood. I started thinking, well, why not me? You know, I changed my whole focus because I think the good Lord, he knew that I was strong enough to handle any obstacles that was put before me. So, you know, I don't think God is going to give you something that you're not prepared for and things that you can't handle. So just remain optimistic and keep the faith, you know, and just love God, man. I can tell you that right now, because he is definitely brought me through a storm. So my faith is on another level with him personally, because I done been through it and I know what he's done for me. So, but just remain faithful. I would leave somebody with those words. So.
All right. Well, Chief Edwards, T Living Archive team definitely appreciates you for taking the time out to be interviewed today.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.